Close your eyes and breathe softly. Tonight we travel far beyond time into the whispered stories of ancient cults that honored the divine feminine. These are not tales of power and conquest, but of gentle mysteries, of sacred women who carried the light of healing, prophecy, and love. As the stars move slowly above us, let us drift together into these forgotten temples, where the voices of goddesses, priestesses, and mothers echo still. Their stories are soft rivers of wisdom, meant to soothe the restless heart and remind the soul of its timeless glow. If these stories bring you peace, you may softly subscribe, so more dreams may find their way to you. And if you wish, share in the comments where you are listening from tonight. Your voice is part of this circle. The night is quiet now. The world outside your window grows still. In this calm, let the heart open to a memory far older than cities, older than stories, older even than the first names whispered to the stars. There was a time, long ago, when human hands were small against the vastness of the earth. People lived close to rivers, to stones, to the caves that sheltered them from wind. They looked to the soil for food, to the sky for signs, and to the moon for comfort. In those early hours of humanity, something gentle began to stir. A vision of the mother. Not one woman, not one face, but a presence that seemed to live in everything. The soft curve of a hill reminded them of her body. The flowing milk of animals reminded them of her kindness. The roundness of the moon was her eternal gaze. And slowly, the Divine Mother took shape. Not in temples yet, but in hearts, in dreams, in the silence before sleep. In the cool darkness of caves, early humans left small carvings. Figures of women rounded, fertile, glowing in form. They were not statues of individuals. They were symbols. The womb of the earth, the giver of food, the keeper of children. Each small carving was a prayer, though no words were written. Each one carried a hope, that life would return again with the spring, that death was not the end, that the mother always watched. The caves themselves became sacred. The echo of a torch crackling in stone felt like her heartbeat. The painted walls, alive with animals and shapes, seemed like her body stretched wide. People stepped inside those caves as if entering her embrace, safe from the winds of the world. And in that shelter, they rested. You may imagine yourself there now. The air is cool, damp with earth. A soft fire glows near the wall, casting shadows that dance like gentle spirits. And on the stone, the ancient carvings gleam, small, simple, yet filled with mystery. The figures seem to whisper, "You are held, you are loved, you belong to the mother." Seasons passed. Snow melted into rivers. Seeds pressed into soil and rose again as green stalks. And each time life returned, the people knew it was the mother's hand. She was the cycle itself. She was birth and growth and return. Even death, they felt, was not the end, but a folding back into her arms. When children were born, they were seen as gifts from her. When animals gave milk, it was her milk flowing. When rain fell, it was her blessing. When the moon waxed full, her face was complete. Everywhere her symbols appeared. Everywhere her breath lingered. And so songs rose in the night. Simple songs, little more than hums and chants, but they carried warmth. A mother rocking her child was also the earth rocking its people. A group gathered around fire was also a family within her embrace. Slowly, her presence became the quiet thread of human life. As centuries drifted by, fields grew larger. Villages formed. Still, the Divine Mother remained. Now she was honored with circles of stone. Now she was honored with altars beneath the open sky. The first temples were not made of marble or gold. They were clearings, groves, and springs where water sang softly. Imagine such a place. A small gathering of people stands in a meadow. The grass bends in the wind like a sea of green. At the center is a simple stone worn smooth by many hands. Flowers rest upon it, placed with care. The air smells of earth and of blossoms. No grand speeches are made, only quiet gratitude, a murmur of thanks to the mother who brings grain, who brings rain, who brings life, and above them, the stars shine. Always the stars. To ancient eyes, they were her jewels, her endless veil. They stretched beyond measure, yet seemed to bow close to those who prayed below. The Divine Mother wore many faces as cultures grew. Sometimes she was the earth itself, a body so wide no horizon could contain her. Sometimes she was the moon, guiding tides and wombs alike. Sometimes she was the great tree, roots deep in soil, branches touching the sky. But no matter the form, The feeling was the same. She was the giver. She was the one who held, who nourished, who never turned away. The first farmers felt her in the grain. When seeds were placed into soil, it was as though they were placed into her womb. And when harvest came, baskets heavy with wheat, it was her gift returning to the people. The cycle of sowing and reaping became a mirror of birth and death, of return and renewal. Even as tools grew sharper and villages stronger, the people did not forget the mystery that life itself was her constant song. Close your eyes and drift into this thought. The Divine Mother is the soil beneath your body, the breath within your chest, the water that softens your lips. Long ago, children of the earth felt this deeply. They lived in her rhythm. They trusted her turning seasons. They bowed to her silence and her storm. And in return, she carried them through the ages. When storms shook the land, they felt her power. When gentle rains kissed the ground, they felt her tenderness. When rivers overflowed, they knew it was her laughter, sometimes fierce, sometimes playful. Her spirit was everywhere, impossible to escape, and yet never feared. For even in destruction there was renewal. Even in death there was return. The memory of the mother grew into stories told by firelight under open sky. Children listened as elders spoke of a woman who birthed the world, a woman whose body was land and sky, whose blood was river, whose breath was wind. Her hair was forest, her tears were rain, her smile was sunlight. And as these stories passed from mouth to ear, generation to generation, they became more than tales. They became truths felt in the bones. A child sitting by the fire would close their eyes, picturing her vast embrace. A hunter returning home would whisper thanks before sleeping, believing she watched. And so her presence softened every corner of life. Even in hardship she was there. Even in hunger she was a promise that food would return. Even in grief she was the assurance that the soul was not lost, but gathered back into her fold. In many places, stones were raised, circles of rock tall and wide, standing against sky. They were not only markers of time or place. They were gateways, symbols of her eternal presence. Within those circles, people sang, people danced, people prayed. The rhythm of drums echoed the heartbeat of the mother herself. Feet stamping the ground felt like calling her forth, reminding her children that they still listened, still believed. And in quiet hours, when no drums played, when no fire burned, the stones still stood, silent, patient, like the mother herself. Always there, always waiting. To rest in her story is to feel the oldest comfort of humankind. It is to know that before kings and empires, before battles and temples of marble, there was only her. She was the first prayer. She was the first hope. She was the first dream whispered to the night sky. And she is still here. Beneath every step, in every breath, in every drop of water. She has never left. The world itself is her body, her gift, her endless cradle. So, as you lie in stillness now, imagine her arms as the ground beneath you. Imagine her breath as the wind through your window. Imagine her song as the hush that fills the night. You are safe within her as countless generations have been. You are held. You are loved. You are never alone. Let this thought be gentle. Let it carry you softly. As the ancient ones close their eyes beside fire, trusting the mother to guard their dreams, so too may you rest now. The Divine Mother watches still. The stars are her eyes. The moon is her lantern. The earth is her body. And you are her child, carried in her endless heart. Breathe slowly. Rest deeply, for the story of the mother is not only of the past. It is now and forever. Let us drift onward, carried by her timeless song. The mother's dawn shines eternal, guiding you gently into sleep. The night deepens. The stars above your resting body glow like tiny lamps, steady and patient. A hush spreads across the horizon of thought, carrying you to a land where rivers once ruled the world. Here, between the waters of the Tigris and Euphrates, rose the first cities of stone and clay. Fields stretched wide, temples rose like mountains made by hands, and the air hummed with chants older than memory. This was Sumer, the cradle of written words of sacred songs, of prayers carved into tablets of clay. And within these ancient cities, by torchlight and under silver moons, the priestesses of Inanna lifted their voices. Their hymns drifted through courtyards, across rooftops, over sleeping streets, and into the hearts of kings. They sang for the goddess of love and war, of fertility and the morning star. Inanna, radiant as Venus rising at dawn. Inanna, fierce as the storm, gentle as the embrace of night. Imagine the city of long ago. Clay walls gleam in moonlight. Canals ripple with soft water, carrying the reflection of stars. At the center, a great ziggurat rises step by step toward the sky, its terraces lined with torches. Flames flicker, reaching upward as if trying to touch the heavens. At the summit, the temple glows. Its walls are carved with symbols of lions, doves, and stars. Inside, the air is heavy with incense, sweet and smoky. And there, in the candlelit halls, the priestesses move slowly, their garments flowing like river mist. They carry bowls of oil, baskets of dates, jars of honey, and loaves of bread, offerings for the goddess, who watches from beyond the veil of stars. The priestesses are not only singers, they are keepers of wisdom. They write poems in cuneiform, pressing reeds into soft clay. They whisper prayers that guide the heart of rulers. They tend to sacred marriages, the union between king and goddess, a ritual binding heaven and earth. When they sing, their voices are like threads weaving together worlds. One voice begins, low and steady. Another joins, higher, shimmering. Soon the temple is filled with harmony, a sound that carries far into the night. The people hear it even in their sleep, and their dreams are colored by its music. Their hymns tell stories of Inanna, stories of her descent into the underworld, where she was stripped of crown and robe and jewels until she stood bare before the queen of the dead. Stories of her return, rising again, carrying with her the mystery of death and rebirth. Stories of her passion, her storms, her laughter, her tears. To the priestesses, these were not just tales, they were living truths. Reminders that life is a cycle, that love and grief, joy and loss, war and peace are all threads in the same weaving. Each word they sang was a breath of the goddess herself. Each note was a prayer sent across the desert winds. Picture yourself now in that temple. You walk softly across smooth stone floors. You see the glow of lamps flickering in bronze bowls. The scent of cedar wood rises into the night air. The priestesses stand in a circle, their heads bowed, their hands lifted in offering. One voice rises above the rest, clear and steady, a hymn to Inanna. Her song is gentle yet strong, like water flowing over stone. The words tell of the morning star shining over the horizon, a beacon of hope. The song tells of crops growing tall in the fields, of mothers nursing children, of rivers flooding with life. Every sound seems to calm the heart, to remind it that the goddess watches, that the world is cared for. The people of Sumer trusted their priestesses deeply, for it was believed that the goddess spoke through them. When a king sought guidance, it was the priestess who listened to dreams, who read omens in the flight of birds, who sang the chants that opened the ear of the divine. The bond between ruler and priestess was sacred, as if the city itself leaned upon her wisdom. Inanna was not a quiet goddess. She was passion, storm, and flame. Yet through the voices of her priestesses, her fire became a light to guide the city. Their chants calmed the restless. Their rituals renewed the land. Their songs turned fear into peace, sorrow into strength. Let your mind drift to one night long ago. The city sleeps, only the temple is awake. Inside, the priestesses prepare for the sacred marriage, a union between heaven and earth. The king enters dressed in robes of white linen, his head crowned with gold. The high priestess waits, her presence serene, her body seen as the vessel of Inanna herself. Torches glow, shadows dance. The hymn begins, a song of love, of renewal, of promise. The king and priestess share bread and wine, their hands joined as the people outside wait in stillness. It is believed that through this union the land will be blessed with fertile fields, with peace, with abundance. The goddess herself walks among them in that moment, unseen but felt, her presence flowing like warm rain. Beyond ritual, beyond song, the priestesses carried another role. They were healers. They prepared herbs gathered from riverbanks. They whispered words of comfort over the sick. They placed cool hands upon fevered brows. In their touch, people felt the care of the goddess, soft as moonlight. They were also dream interpreters. When someone awoke shaken by visions, they sought the priestesses. In the temple, under lamplight, the dream would be told. The priestess would listen, her eyes calm, her breath steady, and she would translate the dream into meaning. To dream of water was to dream of life. To dream of stars was to dream of guidance. To dream of Inanna was to feel her presence near. Everywhere they walked, the priestesses carried a quiet gravity. Children bowed their heads when they passed. Merchants lowered their voices. Farmers placed a little grain aside for the temple, a small gift for the goddess. For to serve the goddess was to serve life itself. To honor her priestesses was to honor the balance of heaven and earth, and so their voices shaped the rhythm of the city. Morning prayers greeted the rising sun. Evening chants soothed the restless as stars appeared. In times of drought, they prayed for rain. In times of plenty, they sang songs of gratitude. Always, their words connected the people to the divine. It is said that even when storms raged, the chants of the priestesses brought calm. That when fear spread, their songs gave courage. That when sorrow darkened the hearts of the people, their hymns lifted them into light again. Perhaps it was true, perhaps it was only belief. But to the people of Sumer, belief was enough. Belief itself was a bridge, strong as stone, steady as river flow. And so, night after night, the silver moon watched. Night after night the priestesses sang. And in those songs, a city found peace. Now let the image fade, soft as smoke rising into air. The temple quiets, the torches burn low. The priestesses withdraw into silence, their robes whispering against stone. The city sleeps, wrapped in the blessing of their songs. You drift too, as they once drifted, into the embrace of the goddess. The silver star of Inanna shines above you, a lantern in the night. The soft hum of ancient hymns lingers like a cradle song, and the world feels safe, gentle, eternal. Rest now, for the priestesses sing still, their voices echoing through time. Let us drift onward, carried by their hymns, toward the next stream beneath the stars. The desert sleeps beneath a quiet moon. Sand stretches like a golden sea, its waves still in the cool night air. The stars shine, scattered like jewels across the dark sky, patient and eternal. Somewhere, far within this endless land, rises a temple of stone. Torches glow along its pillars, their light flickering softly against carved walls. It is the temple of Hathor, the radiant mother, the goddess of joy and music, of tenderness and laughter. Step closer in your mind. You pass through the silence of desert air. The walls rise tall before you, carved with figures of cows, sistrums, and flowing hair. Hathor, the divine mother, gazes from the stone with eyes kind as moonlight. She waits at the doorway, welcoming all who seek rest in her embrace. Inside the temple, the air is cool. The thick stone shelters from the desert's heat, wrapping you in calm. You smell the sweetness of incense burning slowly. You hear the gentle hum of chanting, voices soft, steady, like the rhythm of a heartbeat. Priestesses move in flowing linen, carrying bowls of milk and honey, laying them at the feet of the goddess. Their bracelets chime like little bells, a music that soothes rather than stirs. The image of Hathor shines at the center. She is crowned with horns, holding the sun disk between them, glowing with the warmth of life. Her face is serene, her smile soft, her hands open. She is the cow goddess, the mother of nourishment, the one who feeds the soul as well as the body. She is the one mothers whisper to when children are restless, the one musicians honor when strings are plucked in the still of night. Long ago, Egyptians believed Hathor was the sky itself. Her body stretched across the heavens, painted with stars, her arms outstretched to cradle the world. Each morning, she gave birth to the sun. Each evening, she swallowed it into safety, so it might rise again. To her, nothing was ever lost, only carried, only transformed. Life itself was her gift, her endless song. Farmers felt her in the fields, when cattle gave milk and crops rose green. Musicians felt her in the air, when their harps and flutes found harmony. Mothers felt her in their arms, when babies nestled close, safe and warm. Even the dead turned to her, believing she welcomed them beyond life, offering wine and song to ease their passage. Close your eyes now, and imagine her presence. She is not a distant goddess. She is near, like a mother leaning close to soothe a child. Her voice is a lullaby, slow and tender. Her breath is the breeze that cools your skin. Her arms are golden light, wrapping gently around you. The temple hums with her memory. Sistrums shake softly, their metal discs chiming in rhythm. The sound is like sunlight on water, shimmering, playful. Priestesses sing in low voices, words carrying praise, but also joy. Not fearful prayers, but songs of laughter, gratitude, and peace. For Hathor was not a goddess of stern judgment, but of sweetness, of comfort. Her myths tell many stories. Some say she was the Eye of Ra, fierce in protection, blazing like fire when the world was threatened. Yet even in this, her fury was born of love, of a desire to guard her children. Other tales tell of her dancing, her laughter filling the heavens, turning sorrow into celebration. She is both fierce and gentle, wild and calm, a balance of all that life carries. One tale tells of a time when she grew too fierce, her rage threatening the earth itself. She had become Sekhmet, the lioness, unstoppable and burning. But to soften her, the gods poured red wine across the fields, and she drank it, mistaking it for blood. As the wine filled her, she grew calm, her anger eased, and she returned to her form as Hathor. This story was not one of fear, but of reminder. Even the fiercest storm can soften. Even rage can return to joy. The people loved her for this. They saw in her the truth of life, that it could be gentle, it could be wild, it could be laughter, it could be tears. And in every shade she was present, never abandoning, always watching. Festivals were held in her honor. People gathered in fields and temples, dancing to the sound of flutes and drums. Wine flowed, laughter echoed, and music rose into the night. For in celebration they felt closest to her. She was joy itself, and to laugh, to sing, to dance, was to pray to Hathor. Imagine such a festival now. The desert air is warm yet soft. The night sky is filled with stars, a blanket of light stretching forever. Torches flicker along the edges of the gathering. The people dance, slow and steady, their hands lifted in praise. Musicians play, their instruments gentle, weaving sound like threads of silk. Every face glows with peace, every heart feels light. The goddess is among them in every smile, in every note, in every shared glance. Hathor was not only goddess of joy, she was also the guide of souls. When someone passed from this world, she was believed to meet them with kindness. She offered wine to quench thirst, music to ease fear, and her arms to carry them into the afterlife. Death in her care was not frightening. It was another birth, another passage through her embrace. To be held by Hathor was to know that nothing is truly lost. The child who departs is still in her arms. The elder who rests is still in her light. Even in silence, her song continues. Her temples stood across Egypt, carved in stone, adorned with columns shaped like her face. One of the most beautiful still stands at Dendera. Its ceilings are painted with stars and constellations. Its walls whisper her stories etched in hieroglyphs. Stepping into such a place was like entering the sky itself, endless, eternal, alive with her presence. Imagine standing in Dendera long ago. The air cool and still. Light falls from torches onto painted ceilings, stars glowing above even within walls of stone. Priestesses sing softly, their voices like flowing water. Every sound echoes, long and lingering, as if the temple itself is singing back. And in the center, the statue of Hathor shines, golden, serene, eternal. To the people, she was not only a goddess but a friend. She was the one who comforted them in sorrow, who joined them in joy, who blessed the fields, the children, the music of their lives. She was the balance that turned fear into laughter, silence into song, endings into beginnings. Her symbols were simple yet deep. The cow for nourishment and gentleness, the sistrum for music and celebration, the mirror for beauty and reflection, reminding each person that they too carried her light within. Every symbol was a reminder. You are cared for, you are part of her, and she is always near. Now let the temple grow quiet in your mind. The music softens, the torches burn low, the priestesses withdraw into shadow, their voices fading into silence. Only the image of Hathor remains, smiling gently, her arms open, her eyes filled with love. You rest within her embrace. The desert outside is still, the stars shine steady, and her song lingers, softer now, like a lullaby at the edge of sleep. She reminds you that joy is never lost, that laughter will return, that life in all its shades is her gift. You are her child and you are safe. Now rest as the stars return. Let us drift onward, carried by the music of Hathor, into the stillness of the night. Night leans gently across the mountains of Greece. The sky rests in shades of deep indigo, scattered with patient stars. A silver moon hangs above the crags, pouring its light across winding paths of stone. Below, the valley sleeps, its rivers stilled, its fields breathing in silence. And high upon the slopes of Parnassus, a temple glows faintly in the quiet night. It is Delphi, the place of the oracle, the navel of the world where the breath of the earth rises and the voice of the gods is heard. You drift closer. The marble columns gleam in the pale moonlight, tall and solemn. Torches flicker at their base. their flames bending in the soft mountain wind. The steps leading upward are smooth with centuries of prayer, worn by countless feet that sought wisdom here. Every stone whispers of devotion, of questions carried across time, of answers breathed by the unseen. The temple of Apollo stands waiting. Inside, the air is cool and still, touched with the faint scent of laurel leaves. An oil lamp glows, its flame steady, golden, quiet. From the shadows comes a slow sound, the hush of fabric, the brush of feet on stone. Priestesses move like water, their robes flowing pale, their movements unhurried. They are keepers of silence, guardians of the sacred threshold. At the heart of the temple rests a chamber, low and dim. Here, the Pythia, the oracle of Delphi, takes her seat. She sits upon a simple tripod, her feet resting near a crack in the earth. From that opening rises a warm breath, a vapor that drifts unseen, carrying the mystery of the underworld. It is said the breath is the voice of the earth, a spirit rising from the deep, a bridge between mortal and divine. The oracle closes her eyes. Laurel leaves rest in her hands. A bowl of water gleams beside her, reflecting the faint glow of the lamp. Her breathing slows, her voice softens, and soon the whisper begins. The people believed Apollo spoke through her, god of the sun, of music, of truth. His words descended like rays of light, yet reached mortals through the veil of mystery. The oracle's voice did not always form clear answers. Her words were often wrapped in poetry, in riddles, in echoes of hidden meaning. But within the mystery was guidance, waiting for each listener to hear in their own way. Imagine now the temple filled with quiet figures. A pilgrim bows low, eyes closed in reverence. His journey has been long, his heart heavy with questions. Beside him another stands, seeking hope for a city, a king, a people. They wait in stillness, their ears turned toward the trembling voice that rises from the sacred chamber. The oracle's words drift like smoke, soft, elusive, yet carrying weight beyond their sound. The pilgrims listen not only with their ears, but with their hearts, with their dreams. The meaning is not forced upon them. It flows gently, like water seeking its own course, finding each soul in its own way. The myths tell us that Delphi was the very center of the earth. Zeus himself sent 2 eagles to fly from opposite ends of the sky. Where they met was Delphi, the navel of the world, the place where heaven and earth touched. Here Apollo's temple was built. Here the breath of the earth rose. Here mortals and gods could meet, not face to face, but in whispers, in symbols, in dreams. Outside the temple, the night is filled with sound. Not noise, but the gentle voice of nature. A breeze drifts through the pines, their needles brushing like distant strings of a lyre. Owls call across the valley, slow and steady, like guardians of the dark. The stones of the temple stand unmoved, yet within them pulses the memory of countless prayers. The oracle herself was not a goddess. She was human, a woman chosen, prepared, purified through ritual. Her power was not her own, but a vessel, a channel, a mirror of divine voice. This made her both fragile and sacred, both ordinary and touched by the beyond. When she spoke, her words carried the rhythm of another world. Sometimes her voice trembled, sometimes it rose like song, sometimes it broke into silence. Yet all who listened felt that something greater than her had entered the air. The mystery was never in her alone, but in the space between her breath and the hearts of those who listened. Imagine now you are seated within the temple. The floor beneath you is cool stone. The light from the oil lamp flickers softly across carved walls. You hear the faint trickle of water in a basin, the steady breath of those beside you, the low hum of the oracle's chant. Her words are distant, yet they echo in your chest. Not commands, not laws, but murmurs, guiding like a river that flows without hurry. The oracle does not tell you what will be. She does not demand that you follow. She only offers images, glimpses, seeds of thought that may one day bloom in your life. Perhaps you hear of a bird in flight, or a path beneath olive trees, or a fire that warms but does not burn. Each image rests in your mind like a dream, soft, half-formed, yet alive. In time, meaning will unfold, as slowly as dawn rising over the mountains. The temple of Apollo was also a temple of music. Strings of lyres, flutes of reed, voices raised in song. For Apollo was the god of harmony, of order, of the balance between sound and silence. In Delphi, music was prayer, music was prophecy, music was healing. The oracle's whispers carried the same rhythm as a song half heard in sleep. Not loud, not sharp, but soft, weaving through silence like golden thread. Some said that even the stones of Delphi sang, that if you pressed your ear against the marble, you could hear the hum of the earth itself, a deep vibration, steady and eternal, the heartbeat of the world. And perhaps it was true, for here, in this place, silence and sound seem not separate, but one. Stories tell of kings who came here, seeking the fate of their reign. Stories tell of wanderers, unsure of their path, who left with hearts steadier. Some heard promises of victory. Some heard warnings of loss. Some heard riddles they never solved. Yet all felt they had touched something beyond themselves, something older than memory, something kinder than fear. The oracle's whispers carried more than answers. They carried presence. They reminded each listener that they were not alone, that the earth itself breathed with them, that the gods listened, that silence held them. In her words, each soul found not certainty but comfort. Close your eyes now and imagine the temple growing dimmer. The torches burn low. The pilgrims bow their heads and step slowly away, their hearts filled with quiet thoughts. The oracle rests, her body weary, her breath steady once more. The chamber falls into silence save for the whisper of the earth, still rising, still breathing. Outside, the night deepens. The stars remain steady. The wind cools the stones, and the temple stands, as it has stood for centuries, a place of listening, a place of whispers. Delphi was not only a place of prophecy, it was a place of balance, a reminder that truth is not always loud, that wisdom does not always come as lightning, but as a soft breath, that guidance is not always a command, but a whisper carried on the wind. In every life, there are moments like this, moments when the path ahead seems unclear, moments when questions rise heavy and restless. And yet, like the oracle, the answers may come not as thunder, but as a gentle voice, half heard, waiting within the silence. Now let the temple fade into the night. The marble dissolves into shadow. The torches flicker out. Only the mountains remain, their peaks silvered by the moon, their valleys cradled in stillness. The earth breathes quietly, its voice eternal, its song endless. And in this stillness, you are safe. The oracle's whisper lingers, not with riddles, not with burdens, but with comfort. A reminder that guidance flows softly, like water, like wind, like dream. Now rest as the stars return. Let us drift onward, carried by the oracle's whisper, into the gentle night. The night rests gently over the mountains. The air is cool, scented with pine and the faint sweetness of wild herbs. A silver moon hangs low, its light brushing the ridges with soft glow. Below, the valleys sleep in silence, their rivers still, their fields breathing beneath starlight. High above, near the jagged peaks, a shrine clings to the stones like a nest cradled by the sky. Here dwells the spirit of Cybele, the Great Mother, the mountain-born goddess, keeper of wild beasts, rivers, and the endless breath of the earth. Her presence lingers in the wind, in the hoot of owls, in the restless rustle of leaves, and her daughters, the priestesses who dance in her honor, move tonight beneath the rising moon. The shrine is not grand in size. It is carved into the rock itself, simple, solemn, eternal. Columns of stone rise like trees, their tops worn smooth by centuries of weather. At the heart glows a fire, steady and golden, casting long shadows against the walls. Around it, offerings rest, carved bowls filled with milk and honey, wreaths of flowers, small figures shaped by humble hands. Every gift is simple, yet every gift is filled with devotion. The priestesses gather in quiet reverence. Their robes ripple like water in the wind. Some carry tambourines, their frames of wood ringing softly with tiny bells. Others carry flutes of reed, their breath slow, their notes lingering like birdsong. Together they wait, their eyes lifted toward the mountains, their hearts steady as the fire. Cybele is not only a goddess of temples, she is the wild itself. The roar of lions, the rush of rivers, the unbroken rhythm of life. To worship her was to honor both the earth's strength and its gentleness. To dance for her was to become part of the living pulse that flows through stone, through stream, through flesh. The daughters of Cybele begin their song. At first it is low, a murmur like the wind moving through trees. The sound rises slowly, soft syllables woven with flute notes, a chant that drifts outward into the night. Their voices echo against the cliffs, carrying into the valley like a lullaby sung by the mountains themselves. Drums enter next. The rhythm is steady, like a heartbeat, Slow at first, each beat separated by silence as if to remind the world of breath. Then, gently, the rhythm quickens. Still calm, still unhurried, like footsteps across soft earth. The priestesses sway, their robes catching the firelight, their shadows bending against the stone walls. The dance is not wild, it is not sharp. It is flowing, like rivers circling bends, like clouds drifting across the sky. Arms rise and fall, feet trace circles upon the ground. Bodies move with the music as if carried by invisible currents. Each gesture honors Cybele, the mother who holds all, the endless womb of life itself. Legends say that Cybele was born from the very mountain, that her spirit rose from stone and soil, crowned with towers and guarded by lions. She was both tender and fierce, a mother of all living things, yet also a reminder of nature's untamed strength. Her daughters, the priestesses, carried this dual spirit. In their dances, they showed the world that love is strong and strength is love. As they move, their voices rise higher. Now the chant is clearer, filled with words of devotion, yet soft enough to lull the heart. Some sing of rivers ever flowing. Some sing of forests, sheltering and green. Some sing of the sky, open and eternal. Each voice joins another, weaving harmony like threads of golden cloth. The shrine itself seems to breathe. The fire flickers in rhythm with the drums. The stone walls echo with every note, as if the mountain listens and replies. Above, the moon brightens, silvering the peaks, blessing the dancers with light. The wild creatures stir in silence. The distant rustle of deer, the far-off call of wolves, not in fear, but in recognition, as though they too honor the mother in their own way. For Cybele's daughters were not separate from the wild. They were its kin. They lived among the rhythms of nature, listening more than speaking, receiving more than demanding. Every bird that flew, every spring that bubbled, every seed that rose into flower was a hymn in itself, a prayer offered without words. The stories of Cybele tell of her lions, fierce and golden, drawing her chariot across the sky. But in this night she comes not with thunder, but with stillness. She arrives as a hush between drum beats, as the soft flame of the fire, as the quiet strength in each dancer's step. Her daughters know she is near, for the air itself feels alive. The mountain seems to pulse with hidden song. One priestess lifts her arms toward the moon. Another kneels beside the fire, offering a wreath of wildflowers. A third presses her hand to the ground, feeling the heartbeat of the earth beneath her palm. Together, they embody the balance of sky, flame, and soil. Together, they honor the endless cycle: birth, growth, rest, and return. The night deepens, yet the dance remains unbroken. It does not hurry, does not tire. It flows as the river flows, patient and steady. Some of the priestesses close their eyes, swaying only with the rhythm, their bodies carried like leaves upon gentle water. Others spin in slow circles, their robes spiraling outward, glowing like halos in the firelight. Their devotion is not a demand for answers. It is not a plea for favor. It is gratitude, pure and simple. Gratitude for life, for breath, for the pulse of the earth beneath their feet. Gratitude for the Great Mother, who holds all in her embrace. High in the mountains, time feels different. The hours stretch like rivers, slow and wide. The stars shift above, but their movement is too gentle to see. The fire burns lower, its glow deep and warm, like the heart of the earth itself. And still, the daughters of Cybele dance, their steps weaving a tapestry of prayer upon the stone floor. The wind grows softer, carrying the faint scent of pine deeper into the shrine. It brushes the hair of the dancers, cool against their warm skin. It plays upon the strings of their song, carrying their devotion down into the valleys below, where even the sleeping villages may dream of the Great Mother's presence. Now the drums grow quieter, the rhythm slows, each beat stretched apart until silence settles again. The flutes sigh their last notes, drifting upward into the night sky like sparks from the dying fire. The priestesses lower their arms, their robes settling against their still forms. Their breaths deepen, calm, in unison, as though the mountain itself breathes with them. The dance has ended, but the devotion lingers. The air is heavy with peace, the kind of peace that comes not from stillness alone, but from harmony with all things. The shrine glows faintly in the moonlight, its fire a small sun resting upon the stone. And the daughters of Cybele rest, their bodies folded gently, their faces serene. Cybele, the Great Mother, remains, not only in the shrine, not only in the mountains, but in every creature, every stream, every whisper of wind. Her spirit is the spirit of the earth itself, unbroken, endless, alive. And her daughters, through their song and dance, remind the world of this eternal bond. As the night drifts toward dawn, the mountains remain wrapped in quiet silver. The stars slowly fade, the valleys prepare for light, and the shrine of Cybele rests once more in gentle silence. The drums are still, the voices are hushed, the fire glows in slow embers, and only the memory of the dance remains, echoing softly in the heart. Now rest as the mountains sleep. Let us drift onward, carried by the song of the Great Mother, into the endless night of peace. Beneath a quiet Roman sky, where the first stars trembled like dew upon the heavens, a circle of flames glowed softly within marble walls. The night air carried a hush, as though even the winds paused in reverence. The temple of Vesta, heart of the eternal city, stood like a vessel of silence, cradling a single flame that had burned without end. You drift toward that place now. The streets are empty. The stones underfoot are cool, touched by moonlight. Shadows of olive trees lean across the path, their branches whispering to one another in the gentle breeze. Ahead the temple rises, round as the moon, columns circling like sentinels. No noise of chariots, no echo of crowds, only the soft breath of Rome at rest. Inside the temple the air is warm, golden. The eternal fire rests in the center, alive but never fierce. Its flames curl upward like ribbons of light, swaying, never falling. The glow touches the walls, painting them with soft amber. It feels not like fire of destruction, but fire of memory, of care, of breath itself. Every spark a heartbeat, every ember a promise. For centuries, the daughters of Vesta, the Vestal virgins, tended this sacred fire. Chosen as children, bound to the goddess, they became guardians of Rome's spirit. Their task was simple yet eternal: to keep the fire alive, to never let it die. If the fire faltered, so too would the city's fate. And so they lived with quiet devotion, their days moving like gentle waves, their nights wrapped in stillness. Imagine them now, white robes flowing like river mist, hair bound in careful braids, sandals soft against the polished stone. They step with reverence, not haste. They carry small bundles of wood, each piece laid tenderly upon the coals. The flame accepts the gift with a soft crackle as though sighing in gratitude. The temple holds no statues, no vast golden treasures. It is simple, round, and open, a place of breathing space. The fire is enough. The fire is all. And as you linger in this sacred circle, the meaning of the flame begins to soften into your heart. It is the hearth of Rome, yes, but it is also the hearth of every soul. For within each person is a small eternal flame, a spirit that longs to be cared for, tended gently, kept alive through the rhythms of life. Like the Vestals, you too hold a quiet duty, to keep your inner fire glowing with patience, kindness, and rest. Beyond the temple walls, Rome lies in slumber. The Tiber flows slowly under the bridges. The hills cradle the city like a mother with her child. The air smells faintly of earth and cypress, but here, in the temple, all of Rome is gathered in one flickering flame. The Vestals lived apart from the noise of the world. They were honored, respected, even feared a little, for their lives touched the divine. Their vow of purity was not a burden, but a path into stillness. They walked neither as mothers nor as brides, but as guardians of a light that never ceased. Their devotion was not to conquest or power, but to care, to balance, to the steady rhythm of fire that must not go out. Close your eyes within this vision. See the circle of stone. Feel the warmth of the flame. The air hums softly like a lullaby sung by the earth. The stars above drift across the dome of night. The fire continues, breathing without pause. In the oldest stories, fire was the gift of the gods, stolen, carried, bestowed to humankind. It was more than heat, more than light. It was spirit itself, the living heart of creation. The Vestals understood this. They bowed before it each dawn. They guarded it each night. For them, fire was not a tool, but a soul. And so, the eternal flame became a symbol of continuity. Generations passed. Emperors rose and fell. Streets widened, walls crumbled, marble weathered under rain. Yet the fire remained, a thread unbroken, weaving the past into the present, and the present into tomorrow. It whispered, "Life continues." It murmured, "Rome endures." It sang, "The spirit is never lost." Now imagine the slow dance of time. The Vestals of one age grow old and leave. New daughters are chosen, their small hands learning to carry wood, their young eyes trained to watch the glow. They grow into women who know the fire as they know their own heartbeat. And so the circle continues unbroken, as steady as the cycle of moon and sun. The flame reflects upon your own life. Every day you add small offerings to the hearth within, moments of kindness, breaths of patience, whispers of gratitude. These are the wood and oil that keep your spirit aglow. Even in darkness the flame waits, steady, quiet, never fully gone. The temple breathes with you. Each inhale feeds the flame. Each exhale softens its glow. It never demands. It only waits, steady and still. Outside, the night deepens. The city sleeps, but the fire holds watch. Guardians move gently, robes brushing against stone, sandals whispering across the floor. Their presence is calm, like stars that keep their places in the sky. Their devotion is soft, like water flowing endlessly in the river's bed. And so you too may rest, knowing the fire will not falter. The guardians keep watch. The flame remains. The spirit endures. Feel the warmth against your skin. Let the flicker of light play across the quiet of your mind. No hurry, no noise. Only the steady rhythm of fire, breathing gently, endlessly. Now, let the temple fade into mist. The columns dissolve into silver air. The fire remains, but it is smaller now, softer. It settles into the center of your being, where it belongs. There it rests, calm and eternal, keeping you safe, keeping you whole. The night carries you onward. The river flows toward morning. The stars lean closer, tender in their watch. The eternal flame within you glows, steady and kind. Rest now as the sacred fires of Vesta continue their soft song. Rest as Rome sleeps under the wide, gentle sky. Rest as your own flame steadies into peace. Let us drift onward. Now rest as the stars return, and the flame within you glows without end. Night folds itself across the ancient forests. The air is cool, touched with the fragrance of pine and damp earth. Above, the moon rests like a silver lamp, patient and unwavering. Its light filters through the leaves, spilling soft circles upon the ground like pools of quiet water. You drift into this place, where silence holds the trees, and every branch seems to hum with memory. Here in the stillness, Artemis moves, the goddess of the hunt, the protector of women and of wild things. She is a shadow of grace, her steps soundless, her eyes calm, her bow resting lightly at her side. The forest is her temple, not carved with stone, but alive with roots and rivers. Owls call from hidden branches, their voices low and gentle. A deer lifts its head from the stream, ears listening, trusting the night. All creatures here know her presence, and all rest safely within her watch. The moon is her crown, soft, eternal, glowing above her brow. It follows her as she moves through glades and meadows, casting paths of silver at her feet. Where her light falls, shadows retreat, and the wild breathes with ease. Imagine her now, a guardian moving beneath the stars. Her cloak is woven of night itself. Her gaze is strong yet tender, like a sister watching over younger kin. She does not demand. She simply protects. She simply is. In the old stories, Artemis walked apart from men, choosing the freedom of the wild over the bonds of the hearth. Her life was untamed, guided not by law but by the rhythm of moon and river. She was the guardian of maidens, the voice of women who sought refuge, the steady light for those who wandered into the shadows of fear. And always, the animals moved with her, the swift deer, the patient bear, the quiet hare. Each found sanctuary in her presence, for she was not their hunter, but their keeper. The paths she walks are endless. They weave between tall cypress trees, where the air tastes of resin and cool stone. They follow rivers that gleam like ribbons of light beneath the moon. They climb mountains where the winds carry songs older than memory. Every step is calm, every breath is steady. To walk with Artemis is to walk with peace. Her bow glimmers faintly, carved from silver. Yet tonight, it is not drawn. The hunt is not of blood, but of silence, of stillness, of truth. The bow rests across her shoulder, a symbol of her strength, but her hands remain gentle, open to the night. The stars above lean closer, as if to listen. They have watched her since the beginning, their light twining with hers. The constellations are her companions, eternal and unwavering. They too keep vigil, reminding all who gaze upward that there is guidance, even in darkness. Step slowly now. The forest softens around you. Moss carpets the ground, cool under bare feet. The air is touched with the sweetness of night blossoms, pale flowers that open only beneath the moon. A brook murmurs nearby, its waters slipping over smooth stones, carrying secrets whispered from mountain to sea. Artemis pauses by the brook. She kneels, her fingers brushing the surface of the water. The ripples spread, silver upon silver. It is said that water holds memory, that every stream carries the stories of the land. And so, the goddess listens, as though the brook itself speaks to her in tones too soft for others to hear. Her face reflects in the water, the moon resting on her brow like a quiet crown. And as you watch, you feel the stillness grow deeper. The water, the trees, the stars, all lean into her presence. All are held in her calm. The animals gather near. A doe steps softly, her fawn close behind. A fox watches from the shadows, golden eyes unblinking. Even the owl descends to a lower branch, its feathers folding close. None fear her. None flee, for in Artemis the wild knows safety. Her spirit teaches independence, yet never loneliness. She walks apart, yet she is never without kin. Her kin are the trees, the rivers, the moonlit creatures. Her kin are the women who call upon her, seeking strength, seeking shelter. Her kin are all who walk beneath the stars, carrying within them the flame of freedom. The moon rises higher, glowing like a lamp of peace. Its light spreads across the forest floor, turning stones into silver, leaves into gentle lace. The path before you gleams. It does not demand where you must go. It only offers, softly as the night does, a way forward. And so you walk with Artemis. Your steps fall into her rhythm, quiet and steady. Each breath joins with the forest's breath. Each heartbeat folds into the slow, patient song of the night. The world feels whole. The world feels safe. Listen to the silence between the sounds, the pause after the brook's murmur, the stillness between the owl's call, the hush when the deer's hoof rests upon moss. These silences are sacred. They are the spaces where Artemis dwells. They are the spaces where your spirit may rest. Far off, the mountains rise. Their peaks touch the stars. Their roots sink deep into the earth. They stand like guardians of time, older than temples, older than men. Artemis knows these mountains well. She has walked their slopes since before memory, her feet tracing paths where no road was carved. The peaks bow to her, wrapped in snow and silence. The goddess moves onward, her face calm, her steps sure. She does not hurry. She does not linger. She flows as the moon flows, steady and unbroken. The forest follows her rhythm. So too does your breath. So too does your heart. Now the night deepens. The stars grow brighter. The forest leans into quiet slumber. Artemis rests upon a stone, her bow at her side, her gaze lifted to the sky. The moonlight crowns her still, endless and serene. Her presence is a lullaby, a soft hymn sung not with words but with being, and you feel it, the gift she gives, strength that is gentle, independence that is tender, freedom that does not sever but connects. Her spirit cradles you as the night cradles the world. Let the forest fade now. The trees blur into mist. The brook softens into silence. The moon remains, silver and steady, glowing within your heart. It will guide you through the night, just as it guides the goddess through her endless paths. Rest in that glow. Rest in that strength. Rest in that peace. Let us drift onward beyond the paths of Artemis into deeper dreams. Now rest as the stars return and the moonlit forest holds you in its gentle embrace. The night drapes its velvet across the desert. Stars gleam like pearls scattered upon an endless sea of black. The air is still, carrying only the whisper of sand shifting in the distance. And in the hush of this moment, a temple rises, carved from stone, kissed by moonlight. Its columns glow pale, softened by age, yet holding the dignity of eternity. Within these walls, the name of Isis is breathed like a prayer, goddess of healing, goddess of love, goddess of eternal return. Her presence flows like water through every chamber, gentle, patient, unending. You drift closer, stepping softly across the temple's threshold. The torches burn with quiet flames, golden against the cool night stone. The scent of lotus and myrrh lingers in the air, carried by faint breezes that move like the sighs of the unseen. Here the veil of Isis waits, a veil woven not of cloth but of mystery, thin as mist yet vast as the sky. It hides, and yet it reveals. Those who entered her mysteries came seeking healing. They came carrying wounds of the body, wounds of the heart, and the endless weight of sorrow. For Isis was more than a goddess of magic. She was the mother who gathered brokenness in her hands, the one who brought life back to what had been scattered, the keeper of resurrection, of memory, of endless love. Her story is whispered by the stars themselves. Once her beloved Osiris was taken by death, broken into fragments and scattered across the land. Isis, with patience that only love could bear, gathered each piece. She searched the rivers, the fields, the mountains, listening for the echoes of him. And when she found what was lost, she wove him together again with her magic, her tears, her song. She gave him life again, not as he had been, but as something eternal, something beyond the touch of decay. And so, Isis became the goddess of resurrection. Her hands knew how to gather what the world had broken. Her heart knew how to heal the places where silence lived. She became the light that mothers, lovers, and wanderers turned toward when grief had become too heavy. In the soft chambers of her temples, priestesses moved like flowing water. Their white robes shimmered in torchlight, their steps slow, their voices gentle. They sang hymns to the goddess, songs that rose like incense toward the night sky. Each note was a thread, weaving mortals and divine into one fabric. Those who listened felt their burdens ease, their breath soften, their hearts rest. The cult of Isis traveled far beyond the Nile. Her mysteries crossed the deserts, sailed the seas, and reached the ports of Greece, of Rome, of distant isles. Everywhere her name was carried, it was spoken with devotion. Everywhere people found in her a mother, a healer, a keeper of comfort. The seas themselves were said to bow to her. Sailors prayed to her before voyages, trusting that her gaze would follow them, guiding their ships as the moon guided the tide. Imagine standing at her altar. The stone is cool beneath your hand. A statue of the goddess rises before you. Carved with care, her eyes inlaid with jewels that glimmer like stars. She holds a child in her arms, Horus, the son who carries hope for the world. Her face is calm, timeless, eternal. And though the stone is silent, her presence speaks. It whispers across your spirit like the hush of wings. Her veil drapes not only across the statue, but across the world itself. It is said that no mortal could fully lift the veil of Isis. For it was not just cloth, it was mystery itself. It was the unseen thread of the universe, the secret heart of life, the quiet truth that cannot be spoken in words. To draw close to her was to draw close to wonder. To breathe her name was to feel the hidden pulse of creation. The initiates of her cult came to her temples at night. They bathed in still waters. They dressed in linen white as moonlight. They fasted, they prayed, they listened. And when the sacred rites began, they closed their eyes and entered the silence of her mystery. Some said they dreamed of her face, serene and tender. Some said they felt themselves carried upon wings of light. Some said they awoke as though reborn. Their grief lifted, their hearts opened wide. In her presence, nothing was ever truly lost. For Isis knew the path of return. She knew how to call life back, how to gather the scattered, how to cradle what had been broken until it breathed again. She was the keeper of cycles, of night returning to day, of winter yielding to spring, of sorrow turning again toward hope. Her veil was not a wall but a promise, that beyond what we can see, there is love that does not end. The desert wind brushes the temple walls now, low and steady. It carries the songs of those priestesses long gone, yet never forgotten. Their voices linger like echoes, soft as dust upon stone. Their hymns are still alive in the stars, still alive in the waves, still alive in the hearts of those who remember. You breathe in this quiet. You feel the weight of her presence, not heavy, but gentle, like a hand upon your shoulder. She does not command. She simply holds. She simply protects. Her love is wide as the sky, deep as the waters, patient as the turning of seasons. The flame of her altar flickers. Shadows sway upon the walls like dancers, their movements slow, rhythmic, dreamlike. The air grows warmer, soft with the perfume of incense. Lotus blossoms float in shallow bowls of water, their petals opening to the night as though to her. Every detail whispers calm. Every detail reminds you, you are safe here. Isis bends close, her face luminous, her veil flowing like the night sky itself. And though her words cannot be fully spoken, her meaning is clear. You are not alone. You are never alone. Every loss carries the seed of return. Every ending carries the promise of beginning. Every broken piece may be gathered, gently, patiently, and made whole again. Let the temple fade now softly. Let the torches dim, their smoke curling into the stars. Let the stone dissolve into the desert mist. The veil remains, flowing across the night sky, endless, serene. It rests over the world like a mother's hand. It rests over you. Close your eyes beneath its shelter. Feel its touch, cool as moonlight, soft as breath. It will hold you as you sleep. It will carry you through the night, through dreams, through silence. And when you wake, it will still be there, unseen but unbroken, eternal as the stars. Let us drift onward, past the veil of Isis, into deeper waters of rest. Now sleep as the stars return, and the goddess of love and healing holds you in her gentle embrace. The night settles across the sea like a silk curtain. Waves move in rhythm, slow and hushed, carrying silver from the moon upon their backs. Stars scatter their light across the horizon, each one glowing as though it were a lantern left by unseen hands. The air tastes of salt, clean and pure, touched with the fragrance of distant blossoms carried by the wind. And upon these soft waters, the story begins again. Far beyond the noise of the world, in the endless blue where horizon and heaven blend, a moment of creation once bloomed. The foam of the sea gathered into a crown of white. It swirled and folded, carrying within it a secret, a promise, a birth. From that foam, radiant as dawn, rose Aphrodite, the goddess of beauty, of tender desire, of love that flows like tidewater. She emerged as though she were a song given shape. Her feet touched the waves, and where she walked, roses unfolded across the shore. Their petals were pale at first, soft as mist, but when her heart stirred with passion, their edges flushed with red, deep as wine, deep as longing. And ever since, the rose has been her symbol, a bloom of beauty and of spirit, fragile yet eternal. You drift along the shoreline of Cyprus, where her first steps kiss the sand. The waves hush against the coast, and the wind carries whispers of her name. Temples once rose here white as moonlight, their pillars catching the glow of dawn. But even before stone was lifted, even before prayers were carved, the sea itself had been her temple. The waters sang her hymn, the tides carried her memory, and the roses that grew wild along the cliffs bowed gently in her presence. Aphrodite is more than beauty of the body. Her gift is also beauty of the soul. She reminds the heart that love is not only desire but devotion, not only longing but the gentle strength that binds people together. She is the fire that softens loneliness, the flame that warms the quiet spaces within. Her rose is more than a flower. It is a vessel of meaning. Each petal unfolds like the layers of the heart. The outer petals are tender desire, gentle attraction, the sweet call of closeness. The inner petals are deeper, the quiet trust, the bond that endures, the love that asks for nothing but presence. At the center, where the petals meet in silence, there lies the mystery, love that is eternal, love that belongs not only to mortals, but to the divine. Priests and priestesses of her temples once carried roses in their rites. They scattered petals upon the sea, offerings of beauty to the goddess who was born from its foam. They crowned statues of her with garlands, weaving blossoms into circles of devotion. And those who prayed to her carried roses in their hearts, knowing that even a single bloom was enough to reach her gaze. The rose of Aphrodite is not only for lovers. It is for anyone who seeks the touch of kindness. It is for those who have felt the sting of sorrow, who need a gentle reminder that beauty still blooms. It is for those who walk in solitude, yet wish to feel accompanied by the soft presence of the divine. The rose opens for all, as the sea accepts all rivers, as the sky holds every star. Legends say that when her beloved Adonis fell to death upon the earth, the ground wept with her grief. From his blood and her tears, roses bloomed, red and full, carrying both sorrow and love in their petals. And so the rose became not only the flower of joy, but of remembrance. It holds in its color both celebration and mourning, both the sweetness of love and the ache of its passing. To gaze upon a rose is to know the heart of Aphrodite, a heart vast enough to hold both delight and sorrow, without breaking. You walk now through a quiet grove where roses climb along stone walls and archways. The air is rich with their fragrance, sweet yet calming. Their blossoms sway gently in the wind, their petals glowing softly in the moonlight. Every step feels lighter here, as though the earth itself wishes to cradle your feet. And in this hush, you sense the goddess near. She is not distant. She does not tower above with thunder or flame. She comes softly as a breath upon your cheek, as a presence beside you. Her eyes are kind, shimmering like dawn upon the waves. Her hands hold not weapons, but blossoms, their fragrance calming, their petals tender. She does not demand worship. She simply invites love, in whatever form it may bloom. The sea beyond the grove murmurs, low and steady. Its voice carries stories of those who once prayed to her. Sailors offered roses to her before they set sail, hoping the goddess would guide their ships across storm and calm alike. Young lovers whispered vows beneath her statues, believing she would bless their union. Mothers prayed for the safe return of children, and widows placed flowers at her altars, trusting that even in loss, love still lived. All turned to her, for all knew that love in its many forms was her gift. Her rose is also a mirror. It asks you to see beauty not only in the world, but within yourself. The soft strength of your breath, the quiet rhythm of your heart, the light in your spirit that does not fade, even when days are heavy. Just as the rose opens petal by petal, so too does your spirit unfold, and with each unfolding, Aphrodite smiles. For every life that knows love, in even the smallest way, carries her reflection. Now the night deepens. The stars hang lower, brighter, as though leaning close to listen. The grove glows with their silver touch, and the roses shimmer as though kissed by starlight. You rest upon a stone bench, cool and smooth, half hidden beneath vines. The air is calm, steady, a cradle for your breath. And in this stillness, the story continues not with words, but with silence. For Aphrodite does not only live in legend, she lives in every gentle touch. She lives in every kind word. She lives in the smile that rises without reason, the laughter that brightens a weary day. She lives in the rose that blooms, even after the cold of winter. And she lives in the quiet love that drifts across the sea of dreams, carrying you gently toward rest. Let the grove fade now. Softly, let the roses blur into mist. Let the sea hush into silence, its foam dissolving into the sky. Only the rose remains, a single bloom of light resting in the dark. It turns slowly, as though upon invisible waters, glowing with every shade of love. It is yours to hold, not in the hand, but in the heart. A rose that never fades. A rose that belongs to you, given by the goddess herself. Now the night draws deeper still. The stars return to their places, patient and steady. The air folds around you like a gentle veil, cool, serene. And the rose of Aphrodite rests upon your spirit, its petals open, its fragrance soft. It whispers of beauty, of love, of peace that does not pass away. Let us drift onward, carried by the tide of dreams. Let us rest beneath the stars, as the rose glows quietly within. Now sleep as the goddess of the sea-born rose holds you in her gentle embrace. The night is long in the northern lands. Stars linger in the deep sky, cold and brilliant, like diamonds scattered upon a dark cloth. Snow hushes the earth in soft blankets, quieting even the breath of the wind. A single fire glows in the distance, golden against the blue of the frozen night. Its smoke curls upward, carrying warmth into the still air. Here, in the shadows of mountains, stories are whispered. The people of the north gather close, their cloaks heavy, their voices low. They tell of the wise women, the velour, who walked between worlds. Women who held the threads of prophecy, who listened to the voices of the unseen. Their presence was not loud nor fierce, but steady, like roots deep within the earth. The velour were seeresses. They were keepers of the old ways, guardians of memory older than stone. They carried staffs carved with runes, symbols of mystery and power. Their steps were slow and measured, as though each one was taken in rhythm with the heartbeat of the world. Where they walked, silence deepened. For all knew they were close to the Norns, the weavers of fate. The Norns were three. At the roots of Yggdrasil, the world tree, they wove the threads of all lives. Urd, who tended the past, Verdandi, who shaped the present, and Skuld, who carried the yet to come. Together they spun destinies, not with haste, but with patience, as the seasons turn as rivers carve valleys. And it was said that the velour, through dream and trance, could hear the whisper of these weavings. The firelight glows upon a vulva as she begins her chant. Her eyes half close and her breath moves with the rhythm of an unseen drum. The air trembles, though no storm stirs. Her voice is soft, but steady, carrying words that seem older than language. Men and women lean forward, not with fear, but with reverence, as though each word is a drop of water upon parched earth. She speaks of paths yet to be walked, of children not yet born, of battles that will rise, of harvests that will come after long winters. Her words are not always clear, for fate is a river with many bends, but in her tone lies a deep calm, the reminder that all things flow toward their place. even sorrow, even joy, all are threads in the same great loom. The volur did not only speak of fate, they healed with herbs gathered beneath the moon. They sang over the sick, their voices weaving hope into the night. They blessed journeys with whispers, asking the winds to be kind. They listened to dreams, for in dreams the gods sometimes spoke with the tongue of symbols. To follow a vulva was to walk close to mystery, yet also close to comfort. Now you drift deeper into the northern night. Snowflakes fall around you, soft as feathers, each one unique, each one fleeting. The pine trees stand tall and silent, their branches heavy, their shadows deep. And through this stillness you sense a presence, the wisdom of the women who came before. They move not as mortals bound by time, but as spirits carried by the threads of destiny. One vulva carries a staff topped with bronze rings. When she walks, they chime softly, a music of guidance, a sound that comforts as much as it warns. Another wears a cloak woven with patterns of starlight, each thread reflecting the constellations above. She whispers as she passes, her words too soft to catch, but they echo in the heart like a remembered dream. A third bends low to touch the ground, reading the lines of the earth as though they are words upon a page. Every motion, every breath feels sacred. The people trusted them, yet also feared them. For to know the future is to carry weight. But the volur did not fear. They carried their wisdom gently, like a flame cupped in the hand, never to be lost, never to be harsh. Their task was not to control fate, but to honor it, to remind all who listened that each thread matters, even the smallest, even the most fragile. Legends tell of great halls where kings sought their guidance. A vulva would be seated upon a high chair, draped in furs, her staff across her knees. She would close her eyes and the room would fall silent. Even warriors, fierce and proud, would lower their gaze, waiting for her words, for they knew she spoke not from herself, but from the roots of the world tree. Her visions were not hers alone, but woven from the voices of the Norns. And so the people listened, not always understanding, not always ready. But in the long winters, when darkness stretched for months, her words were held close like fire. They warmed hearts, reminding all that fate was not cruel, but part of a greater song. The thread of each life was joined to another, and another, until the weave became endless, beautiful, unbroken. You walk now to the roots of Yggdrasil itself in vision. The great tree towers above, its branches stretching across sky and star. Its roots sink deep into wells of wisdom, into rivers of time, and there at its base the Norns work quietly. They dip their hands into the waters of memory, drawing forth what has been, what is, and what will be. Their loom is invisible, yet its hum can be felt in the chest, in the pulse of life itself. The volur sit near, listening. Their eyes shine with a calm light, reflecting not fear but knowing. They see not only the destiny of kings and warriors, but the quiet fates of mothers, of children, of wanderers. Every life matters. Every thread shines, whether bright or dim. The volur smile softly, for they understand what many forget, that the smallest thread may hold the greatest strength. The fire in the distance grows lower, its glow softening into embers. The people curl into cloaks, their breathing deepening, their hearts resting in the rhythm of night. Above them, the stars continue their watch, patient and eternal. The volur stand, their staffs catching the moonlight one last time. They turn toward the shadows, walking into the dark, leaving only silence behind. But the silence is not empty. It is full of the memory of their words, full of the peace of knowing that fate is cared for, tended, and woven with love. Now the snow falls more gently still. The trees lean closer, as if to shelter the world in quiet. The night becomes a cradle, rocking slowly, softly. The Norns continue their weaving. The volur continue their listening. And you too are part of this tapestry. Your breath, your dreams, your heart, all threads in the endless loom. Let the vision fade now. Let the fire dim. Let the stars soften. Let the snow cover the earth in stillness. The wise women of the north return to their paths, carrying their staffs, their songs, their prophecies into the unseen. They leave behind only peace, only the assurance that all things find their place. Now rest as the loom of fate hums gently. Now sleep as the night gathers you close. Let us drift onward as the stars return to their watch. The desert is vast. It stretches out beneath the twilight sky, soft and golden at first, then deepening into hues of rose and violet. Sand shimmers like a quiet sea, its ripples formed not by water, but by the slow breath of the wind. There is no sound here but the whisper of air moving across stone and the faint call of distant night birds. The world feels emptied of noise, emptied of haste. Only silence remains, wide, endless, and tender. It is in this silence that the desert mothers lived. Long ago, when the world beyond the desert grew restless with voices, they turned away. They walked into the wilderness, carrying little, seeking not the noise of cities, but the deep hush of God. They were women of stillness, women of prayer, who became like pillars rising from the sand, unmoving, unyielding, yet gentle in spirit. They found strength in solitude. At night, their shelters were simple. Caves carved by nature, huts of clay and stone, or the shadow of palm trees that bent with the wind. Their days began with the rising sun, when the sky burned with soft light and the air was cool with promise. They lifted their faces to the dawn, whispering words of devotion carried on the quiet air. Each breath became a prayer, each heartbeat a reminder of the eternal. They were called the Ammas, mothers of the spirit. Though they bore no crown, their wisdom was sought by kings and wanderers alike. Pilgrims crossed the desert sands to kneel before them, to ask for guidance, for blessing, for comfort. The Ammas spoke little, but their silence itself was a gift, for in their stillness one could hear truths not found in books or letters, but in the heart's own longing. The desert was their teacher. By day it gave them heat, testing the body with fire. By night it gave them cold, wrapping them in silver moonlight. The stars overhead were bright, sharper than anywhere else, as though heaven leaned closer to touch the earth. Each star was a memory, each constellation a story. The Ammas gazed upon them not for knowledge of the sky, but for the comfort of knowing they were never alone. The heavens stretched above, wide and eternal, a reminder of presence that never faded. Their prayers were not loud or complex. They did not cry out with grand words or eloquence. Their prayers were like water dripping into stone, steady, patient, forming rivers where none had been. They whispered psalms as they walked, letting the rhythm of steps join the rhythm of devotion. They sang in low voices, hymns that melted into the air like smoke from a lamp. Sometimes they prayed without words at all, resting in pure stillness, their hearts open as wide as the desert sky. Stories were told of their wisdom. One Amma was asked how to find peace. She replied with only a gesture. She picked up a jar of water, stirred it until it was cloudy, then set it down. The water stilled and its surface became clear. So it was with the soul, she whispered. Be still, and the truth will shine. Another was asked how to face fear. She smiled softly and pointed to a candle flame in the darkness. The flame flickered, yet never ceased. Fear is but wind, she said, but the flame of the heart remains. They were women of gentle power. They did not fight with weapons or command with voices. Their strength was the kind that grows in silence, in surrender, in patience. They tended to the sick who came to them. They blessed children with hands that had gathered herbs and carried water. They fed the hungry with bread baked in clay ovens, warm and simple, offered with quiet joy. The desert gave them little, yet also gave them everything. From it they learned that emptiness can be full, that silence can speak, that solitude can heal. In the hush of the sand, they found the presence they had sought, and those who came to them found it too, carried not in words, but in the gentle gaze of their eyes, in the calm of their breath. As the sun set each evening, the Ammas lit their lamps. The small flames glowed against the vast dark like tiny stars upon the earth. One by one, lamps were set in caves and cells, each flame a heart lifted in prayer. The desert night became a sky mirrored below. Stars above, stars below, all shimmering in silence. Those who looked upon it felt the quiet beauty of eternity itself. You drift deeper now into the desert's embrace. You feel the cool sand beneath your feet, soft as silk. You hear the faint rustle of palm leaves in the night wind. The air carries the scent of olive oil, of baking bread, of incense rising from hidden shrines. In the distance, an Amma sits beneath a rock ledge, her hands folded, her gaze resting on the horizon. She does not speak, yet her presence calms you, as though she has already heard the prayer in your heart. Time passes differently here. A moment feels like an hour like a day. The silence is not empty, but alive, filled with a music too soft for the ear but clear to the soul. The Ammas called this music grace. It was the soundless gift that filled them, sustained them, and spread outward to all who came near. Legends say that some desert mothers lived more than 100 years, not in wealth, not in comfort, but in the strength of their solitude. Their faces grew lined like the sands shaped by wind, but their eyes remained bright like flames that never dimmed. They carried the desert within them, and through them, the desert spoke. They taught that silence is not absence, but presence, that to be alone is not to be forsaken, but to be found. Now the night deepens. The stars above shimmer more brightly, and the sands below grow cool beneath the moon. The wind moves gently, carrying with it the faint murmur of prayers. The Ammas sleep lightly, some upon mats, some upon bare stone. Their dreams are simple, yet filled with peace. For in their hearts they know that the desert holds them, the silence shelters them, and the eternal never leaves them. You close your eyes in this vision. The desert surrounds you, endless yet soft, quiet yet alive. You feel the presence of the desert mothers, calm, strong, patient. They breathe with you. They rest with you. Their silence becomes your silence. Their peace becomes your peace. Now the lamps grow dim. One by one, the flames are lowered, until only the stars remain above. The desert sleeps, wrapped in silver light. The Ammas sleep, their hearts steady, their breath slow, and you too are gathered into this rest. The desert has no end, no hurry, no fear. Only stillness, only presence, only love. Let the night cradle you. Let the silence hold you. Let the stars return to their watch. Now rest, as the desert mothers rest. Now sleep, as the sands drift in dream. Let us drift onward into the quiet, into the peace, into the deep. The night falls softly over the land. A silver moon rises, casting her gentle light across rivers and forests, across villages where oil lamps flicker like stars upon the earth. The air is filled with the scent of jasmine, and far away, the low sound of a drum hums through the stillness. You drift into this quiet landscape where time slows, where the earth itself seems to breathe. Here in the heart of India, there is a power that is not seen with the eyes but felt in the bones, in the pulse, in the whisper of the wind. It is the power of Shakti. She is the energy of life, the flame behind every heartbeat, the breath that stirs the trees, the river that flows without ceasing. She takes many forms, yet remains one. She is the mother, the warrior, the beloved, the fierce protector, and the gentle guide. The ancients spoke of her as goddess. They told her stories by firelight, in temples, by riversides. Her names are many. Her faces are countless, yet all are daughters of the same shining essence. Durga, who rides upon a lion with calm strength. Kali, who dances in fire and shadow. Parvati, who dwells in quiet love and patient devotion. Each is a hidden daughter of Shakti. Each is a mirror of divine womanhood. The story begins with Durga. She is a goddess of protection, born when the world cried out for help. Legends say that long ago, a great demon rose, so powerful that even the gods could not defeat him. In their despair, they gathered their strength, their light, their fire, and from that union, Durga was born. She emerged radiant, clothed in red, crowned with the crescent moon, carrying weapons in her many hands, not to destroy for cruelty's sake, but to defend what is sacred. She rode forth upon a lion, her hair flowing like a storm, her eyes calm as the morning sky. When she battled the demon, it was not anger that moved her, but a deep love for balance, for harmony, for all living beings. Her roar was thunder, yet within it was gentleness. Her hands carried blades, yet they also offered blessings. Durga is fierce, yet never cruel. Her strength is like the mountain, unshakable, steady, protecting all who dwell in its shade. In temples, her image glows with gold. She is shown with many arms, each holding a symbol of divine power. But if you look closer, you see also the softness of her face, the warmth in her smile. For her battle is not endless. It is a dance of protection, a reminder that strength itself can be tender. Durga whispers, "True courage is born not from pride, but from love." Now the vision drifts to Kali. Where Durga is the mountain, Kali is the storm. She comes fierce, dark as midnight, crowned with flames and garlands. Her dance shakes the earth. Her laughter echoes like rolling thunder. Her tongue is red with fire. Her eyes shine with wild light. She is the destroyer of illusions, the one who tears away all that is false. Yet behind her fearsome face, there is mercy. Kali is not chaos for chaos's sake. She is the mother who strips away shadows so that truth can shine. She teaches that endings are not loss, but openings, that death itself is but a doorway to new life. Those who fear her form misunderstand her heart. For even as she cuts away, she embraces. Even as she rages, she protects. Her devotees describe her as the most tender of mothers. To fall into her arms is to fall into freedom. Her wildness is not to harm, but to liberate. Kali whispers, "Let go of what is false, and you will find what is eternal." Now we drift onward into softer light. The storm fades, and the quiet warmth of home arises. Here waits Parvati. She is Shakti, as gentle love, as patient devotion, as the rhythm of daily life. She is the beloved wife of Shiva, the mountain god of meditation. Where he sits in silence, she moves with care. She is the balance to his stillness, the warmth to his austerity. Parvati is the goddess of the hearth, of family, of tender companionship. Her strength is quiet, yet it holds the power of rivers. She teaches that love is not weakness, but the deepest source of courage. She appears in stories as the one who softens, who nurtures, who brings harmony to the wildness of gods and men alike. Parvati whispers, "In gentleness lies a power greater than force." Each of these daughters, Durga, Kali, Parvati, is different. One is warrior, one is storm, one is love. Yet they are not divided. They are streams from the same river. They are flames from the same fire. They are the faces of Shakti, and Shakti herself is more than story. She is the breath that moves through you now. She is the pulse beneath your hand, the warmth in your chest. She is the quiet strength you carry, the love you give, the truth you seek. In her many forms, she teaches that life is not one thing, but many. That strength wears many faces, that love can roar, can dance, can whisper. Listen now to the desert wind as it passes through the trees. Hear the soft hum of the river as it moves through stone. These too are voices of Shakti, the crackle of the fire, the coolness of the night air, the rhythm of your own heartbeat. All are her daughters. All are her hidden songs. In India, festivals are held for her. Durga Puja, when the goddess is welcomed into homes with garlands and offerings. Navratri, 9 nights of dance and devotion, where each evening celebrates one of her many forms. The people sing, the drums beat, the lamps glow. But beneath all the music, there is the same quiet truth, that Shakti is never absent. She lives in the earth, in the stars, in every soul. And so, as you drift deeper into the night, you are wrapped in her presence. Perhaps Durga stands guard at your side, her lion resting in the shadows. Perhaps Kali dances before you, her fire clearing the path of dreams. Perhaps Parvati sits, quietly near, her hand resting on yours, her gaze soft and kind. Each one is Shakti. Each one is with you. Each one cradles you as you rest. The stars above shimmer like scattered petals. The night air is warm, carrying the scent of sandalwood and flowers. You breathe slowly, deeply, as though the goddess herself breathes with you. There is no hurry now, no burden, only presence, only rest. The daughters of Shakti gather around you. They are hidden, yet they are here. They are fierce, yet they are tender. They are many, yet they are one. They lean close, their voices soft as wind. Sleep now. You are safe, you are held. And so, the night deepens. The river of Shakti flows quietly onward. The lion curls beneath the trees. The flames of Kali soften into embers. The gentle hand of Parvati rests over your dreams. All is still. All is whole. All is love. Now rest as the daughters of Shakti rest. Now drift as the river of the goddess flows. Now sleep as the stars return to their watch. Let us drift onward, into the hidden light, into the eternal night, into the embrace of Shakti. The night opens gently, like a flower at twilight. The sky is deep, painted in shades of blue and silver. Stars shimmer above, soft as tiny lamps in a temple. The air is still, carrying the faint breath of cedar and myrrh. You drift now as though the earth itself cradles you, carrying you toward a place of ancient quiet. In this quiet, there is a presence, a voice, not heard with the ears, but felt with the soul. It is the voice of Sophia. She is the one who whispers wisdom in the spaces between thoughts. She is the soft light within the dark, the guide who turns the heart back toward the source. Her name means wisdom, but she is more than knowledge. She is a gentle current, flowing beneath all things. She is the memory of truth. She is the lamp that never burns out. In old stories, Sophia was said to stand beside the eternal at the beginning of time. Before rivers carved the valleys, before stars found their places, she was there. She was the architect of harmony, weaving order from silence, shaping beauty from formlessness. Her wisdom stretched out like golden thread, binding sky to earth, sea to shore, heart to spirit. She is not a queen with crown and scepter. She is the motherly whisper, the hidden compass, the quiet knowing that leads the lost home. Imagine her presence as a great tree. Her roots sink deep into the earth, steady and unseen. Her branches reach wide, shading the weary. Her leaves catch the light of the sun, shimmering with secrets of the divine. Beneath her, pilgrims rest. Beside her, children play. Around her, birds sing as though every note were a prayer. This is Sophia, rooted, radiant, sheltering, eternal. Once, the mystic said, Sophia was the breath behind creation. Every star that blossomed in the heavens was born of her wisdom. Every river that carved a path across the land followed her guidance. Every child born into the world carried a spark of her light. To see the world through Sophia's eyes is to see not chaos but pattern, not emptiness but fullness, not despair but hope hidden within all things. Sophia appears in many forms. Sometimes she is a gentle maiden, her voice soft as a lullaby. Sometimes she is an ancient mother, her eyes deep with endless compassion. Sometimes she is a bright flame, impossible to touch, yet warming all who draw near. She is the wisdom that teaches without words. She is the answer found not in noise, but in silence. In quiet prayer halls, mystics spoke of her as the bride of the eternal. She is the partner of the unseen, the harmony that completes the divine song. Where the eternal is vast and unshaped, Sophia gives form. Where the infinite is still, Sophia moves with grace. Together they weave creation as one breath, one heartbeat, one endless circle. To walk with Sophia is to walk the path of return. The soul, wandering through the wilderness of life, often forgets its source. It stumbles, searching for light, searching for home. But Sophia waits patiently, like a lantern bearer at the crossroads. Her light does not blind. It glows gently, just enough to guide each step. She whispers in dreams. She speaks through the rustle of trees. She appears in the kindness of strangers, in the stillness after tears, in the wisdom of the heart that knows what words cannot explain. Sophia's gift is not power. It is not wealth. It is not fame. Her gift is clarity, the simple knowing of what is right, what is eternal, what is filled with love. Those who follow her light find peace, even in storms. Those who listen to her voice find courage, even in weakness. For Sophia teaches that wisdom is not hidden far away. It lives within. It has always been there. It only waits for silence to be heard. The ancient poets said Sophia is like a river. She flows quietly, yet she shapes the hardest stone. She nourishes all, yet asks for nothing. She bends and turns, yet always finds her way to the sea. Those who drink from her waters find rest. Those who follow her current find home. And so the listener is invited to rest beside her river now. Imagine cool waters gliding past. The stars shimmer on its surface. The moon hangs low, silver and still. The river hums with songs older than time. You dip your hand into its flow and feel warmth, light, peace. This is the touch of Sophia. This is the wisdom that cannot be spoken, only felt. Sophia also wears the veil of mystery. She does not reveal everything at once. Her wisdom comes slowly, like dawn spreading across the hills. First a glimmer, then a glow, then the fullness of day. For she knows that truth cannot be forced. It unfolds in its time, like a rose opening petal by petal. To walk with Sophia is to learn patience, to trust the unfolding, to accept that all things arrive in their season. Her daughters are silence, compassion, and hope. Silence, for she teaches in stillness. Compassion, for she sees all with gentle eyes. Hope, for she never abandons the wanderer, but always guides them back toward the light. Even in the darkest valley, Sophia's lantern glows. Even in the storm, her song can be heard, soft and steady as the beating of a heart. Close now your eyes within this story. Let Sophia's light surround you. Her presence is near, like the warmth of a candle in the night. You are not lost. You are not forgotten. Her wisdom wraps you like a cloak. Her voice hums like a lullaby through the chambers of your soul. Rest, she whispers. All is well. You are home. And so the river flows. The stars shimmer above. The tree of Sophia stretches her branches, and you rest in her shade. Your breath is slow, your heart steady. You are held, you are safe, you are guided. Let the night deepen. Let the dream unfold. The wisdom of Sophia is with you. She will walk with you through every shadow, through every dawn. She will guide you back to the light. Now rest as Sophia rests. Now drift as a river drifts. Now sleep as her wisdom cradles your soul. Let us drift onward, into the quiet, into the light, into the embrace of Sophia. The night opens slowly, like a book of dreams. The stars lean close, their light soft as milk poured across the sky. The earth is hushed, wrapped in silver shadows, as though every tree and stone is listening. You find yourself drifting into an older time, when the world was quieter and wisdom was carried in whispers. It is here that the healers and midwives walk, women whose hands carried the memory of earth, of life, of song. They were the hidden roots beneath the villages, the silent streams beneath the fields. They were the keepers of beginnings and the guardians of rest. Their homes were small, yet they carried the fragrance of herbs. Lavender hung from beams of wood. Bundles of sage and rosemary dried in corners. Clay bowls held honey, oils and powders ground from roots. The air was gentle, filled with the slow smoke of incense, the sound of a pot simmering. When a child cried, their voices hushed the air like lullabies. When the sick lay restless, their hands brought comfort as steady as the turning moon. The healers listened not only to words, but to breath. They listened to the rhythm of footsteps, to the tremble in the voice, to the silence between heartbeats. They believed that the body spoke like the wind through trees, and that pain was only a message waiting to be understood. So they touched with patience. They touched as though every person were a sacred vessel. Their touch was not hurried. It was the pace of rivers, the patience of roots, the kindness of the soil itself. When life wished to arrive, it was these women who opened the way. By firelight or beneath the gaze of the moon, they welcomed children into the world. Their voices sang old songs, low and soothing, carrying courage into the hearts of mothers. They knew the strength of breath, the wisdom of waiting, the power of holding steady. They wrapped the newborn in soft cloth. They pressed them gently against the mother's heart, where the rhythm of life was strongest. In that moment, they were bridges between worlds, guiding a soul from mystery into the cradle of the earth. But their work was not only for birth. They were guardians in times of sickness. They walked through huts and houses, carrying baskets filled with herbs, stones, and small vials of oil. They placed cool leaves upon warm brows. They mixed teas that tasted of earth and flowers, bringing strength back to tired bodies. They sang to children so fevers would ease. They whispered prayers so the soul might feel less alone in its struggle. For healing was not only in the herbs, not only in the water. Healing was in the presence of care. Healing was in the soft hum of love that filled the air when these women worked. They were not famous. Their names were not carved on stones or written in books. Yet the villages would not have survived without them. They were the quiet temples of life, moving unseen, yet carrying the strength of mountains in their gentleness. They knew that every child was a prayer answered, every mother a river of courage, every elder a book of wisdom. And so they tended to each with the same devotion. whether rich or poor, whether known or forgotten. Some said the healers learned their art from the earth itself. The plants whispered to them, the rivers sang their secrets, the stones glowed faintly in their palms, teaching patience. The wind carried old songs, and the fire revealed how to transform one thing into another. They watched, and they listened, and in this way the earth taught them to heal. Every herb had its story, every root had its song, every leaf carried a fragment of wisdom, waiting to be shared. When the moon was full, the midwives gathered at the edges of the fields. There they laid out baskets of herbs and bowls of water under the starlight. They sang together, their voices rising and falling like waves. It was said that these songs strengthened the roots of plants, calling their medicine forth, blessing the soil so it could keep giving life. The villagers would hear their singing at night and feel a deep calm, for the sound was like a promise that life, no matter how fragile, was always being watched over. Sometimes their role was not to heal the body, but to heal the heart. A widow weeping in silence would find her hand held in quiet company. A child lost in fear would be cradled until sleep returned. The midwives knew that sorrow was not to be hurried. It was to be carried gently like water in cupped hands. In their presence, grief was softened. In their presence, even despair remembered it was not alone. They lived in the rhythm of cycles, birth and death, sickness and health, joy and sorrow. They did not fear the turning of seasons, for they knew that every end is also a beginning. When they buried herbs into the soil, they whispered blessings for future harvests. When they bathed a newborn, they spoke of the child's path with kindness. When they laid an elder to rest, they closed the eyes with care, as though tucking them into sleep. They moved with reverence through every stage of life, as though each step were holy ground. The fire was their companion. It burned in their hearths, warming rooms where new life entered. It burned in their lamps, guiding them through midnight calls. It burned in their rituals as they offered herbs to the flame, sending prayers upward in rising smoke. The fire was not only heat, but a teacher. It showed how transformation is always possible, how pain may soften into peace, how endings may give rise to beginnings. The waters were their sisters. Streams carried their reflections as they gathered herbs. Rivers carried their voices as they prayed. They believed that water remembered, that every tear, every laugh, every song flowed onward, joining the sea. When they gave water to the sick, it was more than drink. It was blessing, cleansing, renewal. And when they bathed the newborn, they whispered that the water itself was a first embrace of the world. The earth was their altar. They touched the soil with gratitude, for it gave roots, fruits, flowers, and stones. Every handful of clay was sacred. Every footprint was part of the great story of life. They buried seeds with prayers. They ground roots with reverence. They pressed their palms to the earth to feel its heartbeat. And in return, the earth gave them what they needed, season after season, generation after generation. And above them, the sky was their witness. It held their songs, their prayers, their hopes. The stars watched like gentle guardians, their light steady through every trial. The moon marked their time, pulling the waters, guiding their rhythms. The sun returned each day, blessing their work, reminding them that light always returns. The healers and midwives belonged to no single people. They appeared in villages across every land, across every age. Different names, different songs, but the same gentle calling, to bring life, to ease pain, to honor cycles, to walk as servants of the sacred mystery that moves through all things. Now, as the night deepens, imagine yourself resting in their care. You are in a small room where herbs hang from beams and a fire glows softly. The air is calm, fragrant with lavender and honey. A gentle hand touches your brow, not to change you, not to demand, only to comfort. A soft song fills the air, as steady as the tide, as tender as a cradle. Your breath slows, your heart eases. You are safe, you are held. The healers and midwives watch over you, as they have watched over countless lives before. Let their presence linger. Let their song flow through you. Let their hands guide you into rest. They are the guardians of the quiet hours. They are the keepers of beginnings. They are the companions of endings. They are the silent temples of life. And so the night folds around you like a blanket. The stars shine above, patient and eternal. The earth hums beneath, steady and kind. The fire glows, the waters flow, the air carries old songs. You are part of this circle. You are safe within it. Now rest as the healers would wish you to rest. Now drift as their songs drift across the fields. Now sleep as their hands once soothed countless souls into peace. Let us drift onward into the hush of night, into the arms of sleep, into the timeless care of the healers and midwives. Night has deepened. The stars rest like lanterns upon velvet skies. The air is still as though holding its breath, waiting. A hush spreads across the horizon, as if all of creation has paused to listen. You drift in this stillness, floating between worlds where stories glow like embers. It is here that we meet the flame, the eternal feminine flame. Not of one people, not of one land, but of all. A light that has never gone out, though ages shift and empires fall. A flame carried in whispers, in lullabies, in the strength of hands that comfort. The flame is gentle, yet it does not fade. It is soft, yet it carries the strength of mountains. It is hidden, yet it shines in every culture, every age, every story. Sometimes it is called mother. Sometimes it is called sister, or goddess, or saint. Sometimes it has no name at all, only the warmth it gives, the calm it spreads. But always it is the same flame, the eternal feminine. The one that heals, that guides, that cradles the soul when it is weary. Imagine the flame as a candle in the dark. Its glow reaches outward, steady and small, yet infinite in its reach. It lights paths for those who wander. It warms those who feel cold. It reminds the lonely that they are not alone. It flickers in every story of compassion, in every act of quiet strength, in every prayer spoken at midnight. This is the flame that cannot be bound by temple walls, nor hidden by silence. It lives wherever tenderness lives. It burns wherever love has taken root. Long ago, in the songs of Greece, it glowed in the hearth of Hestia, the goddess of fire, at home. Her flame kept families safe, kept bread warm, kept hearts gathered close. In far deserts, it shone in the wisdom of Miriam, who carried water to the thirsty, songs to the grieving, courage to the lost. In the forests of the north, the flame was the Volur, the wise women who listened to the threads of fate, holding torches in the dark nights. Across India, the flame danced as Shakti, fierce as Durga, gentle as Parvati, wild as Kali, yet always, always the source of life. In quiet monasteries, the flame was Sophia, divine wisdom, a whisper in the heart guiding souls toward light. And in villages, where mothers birthed children by firelight, the flame was in the midwives' hands, in their songs, in their herbs, in their prayers. Different names, different forms, but always the same light. The flame teaches balance. It does not shout. It does not force. It is the lamp placed gently in the window so the wanderer may find the way home. It is the warmth in a room where silence falls, reminding all who sit there that peace is possible. It is the ember that survives the storm, glowing in ashes, waiting to be rekindled. It is both fierce and tender, both mother and maiden, both storm and stillness. The eternal feminine flame is all of these, yet more. It is the mystery that makes life whole. Close your eyes and imagine yourself standing at the edge of time. Before you burns a great circle of fire. Not one flame, but many, countless, endless. Each fire belongs to a culture, a people, a story. Yet all are one, glowing from the same eternal source. One is shaped like a torch carried by Athena. One is a lamp lit in temples of Isis. One is a fire by the Ganges, where offerings float upon the waters. One is a hearth flame tended by nameless grandmothers, keeping families alive. One is a single candle in a small chapel, burning in prayer. And altogether, they are the eternal feminine flame. It glows in myth, but it also glows in daily life. In the smile of one who comforts, in the hands that prepare food with love, in the eyes of one who forgives, in the quiet patience of one who waits. The flame is in the whisper of lullabies, in the rhythm of heartbeats that steady the frightened, in the soft kiss upon a child's brow. The flame is near always. It has never left. It will never leave. There were times in history when the flame was hidden, times when temples fell, when voices were silenced, when wisdom was pushed aside. Yet even then, the flame found secret places to live. It lived in the songs carried from mother to daughter. It lived in the stories told by firelight. It lived in the herbs gathered from the fields, in the prayers whispered into the night. The flame never died. It only changed shape, for it is eternal, and what is eternal cannot end. Some say the flame is love itself. Others say it is wisdom. Others call it the spirit that moves unseen, weaving life together. Yet words are small beside it. The flame is not only an idea, it is a presence. It is what you feel in the stillness when you are safe. It is what you sense when someone holds you without asking for anything. It is what you hear in the silence after a prayer, when peace settles upon you like soft rain. The flame carries memory. It remembers those who came before. It remembers the voices of mothers, of sisters, of daughters, who walked this earth with quiet strength. It remembers the first songs sung to children. It remembers the first fires that kept people alive in the cold. It remembers the wisdom spoken by rivers, the courage of healers, the patience of saints. It holds all of this glowing, alive, eternal. And when you sit in stillness, you can feel it. You can feel that you too are part of this great remembering. Imagine now that the flame is within you, a small light glowing softly in the center of your being. It flickers gently with your breath. With each inhale, it grows warmer. With each exhale, it grows steadier. This is your share of the eternal flame. It belongs to you as it belongs to all. It cannot be taken away. It cannot be lost. It is your birthright, your inheritance, your quiet gift. You walk through life carrying it, even when you forget. It shines in your kindness, in your patience, in your laughter, in your love. It guides you when you wander. It comforts you when you weep. It gives you strength when you are weary. It is the flame of your mother, and of her mother, and of countless generations before. It is the flame of the earth itself, glowing in every birth, in every dawn, in every gentle act of care. Let the flame guide you now into rest. Feel its warmth like a blanket around your soul. Feel its light like a lamp inside your chest. It flickers softly, steady, calm. It glows as stars glow. It hums as rivers hum. It rests as the moon rests, quiet and eternal. You are safe in its glow. You are sheltered in its warmth. You are held in its memory. The eternal feminine flame has always been here. It will always be here. It is the quiet strength beneath your breath, the soft light within your dreams, the gentle guide toward peace. It shines in every culture, in every land, in every age. It shines in you now. It shines in all who came before and all who will come after. It shines without end. Now let yourself drift as the flame drifts in the night. Let your body soften. Let your thoughts grow quiet. Let your breath move like waves upon a still shore. The eternal flame glows within you. It glows around you. It glows beyond you into the endless dark, making it gentle, making it safe. Rest now as the stars return. Rest now as the flame keeps watch. Rest now as the eternal feminine flame glows softly forever. Let us drift onward into silence, into the quiet, into sleep.